The semifinal between England and Argentina began long before the opening whistle. The history between the two countries, the memories of unforgettable clashes, and the magnitude of a decisive stage of the World Cup turned the build-up into a tension-filled setting. However, Thomas Tuchel chose to distance himself from that atmosphere. The England coach made it clear that he does not want his players to take the field thinking about conflicts from the past, but rather focused on the sporting challenge in front of them. Tuchel knows that it is practically impossible to talk about a match between Argentina and England without historical references emerging. From the Argentine perspective, the encounter often takes on a meaning that goes beyond the boundaries of soccer. But the German coach believes that fueling that narrative could become a distraction for his team. That is why, when he was asked about the rivalry, he responded directly. When asked about that rivalry, Tuchel argued that turning to history has no direct connection to the current members of the England squad. He acknowledged that the past is part of Argentine culture and motivation, but insisted that fueling that approach does not help us. His response was intended to lower the temperature surrounding the match and place the focus where he believes it belongs, on the soccer game the two teams are about to play. The phrase "does not help us" summed up Tuchel's position. The coach did not deny that there is a special emotional weight surrounding the match, nor did he question what it represents to Argentines. His intention was to prevent England from entering territory where its opponent might feel more comfortable. For Argentina, history can serve as fuel. For England, according to Tuchel, dwelling on it too much would only add unnecessary pressure. The coach also appeared to send a message to those in the media, on social media, or within the circles surrounding both national teams who are trying to inflame the rivalry. Tuchel understands that this kind of rhetoric may increase public anticipation, but he believes it does not contribute to his players' preparation. England does not need to play a symbolic match against previous generations. It needs to defeat the reigning world champion and reach the final. The core of his message was simple. England is in Atlanta to play soccer. It is not about ignoring the past, but about preventing the past from shaping decisions in the present. Tuchel wants his players to think about Lionel Messi's movements, the pressure applied by Argentina's midfielders, defensive cover, and how to exploit space. To him, anything that pulls the squad away from those concrete details could hurt them. That does not mean he expects a cold, emotionless encounter. On the contrary, Tuchel predicted an intense and emotional semifinal. He believes the styles of both teams, combined with everything at stake, make it highly unlikely that the match will unfold calmly. He also warned that there will be shifts in momentum and compared what he expects to experience to a journey full of ups and downs. That assessment reveals that the England coach envisions an unstable match, with both teams enjoying periods of control and emotional swings capable of changing the course of the game. England will have to be prepared to endure difficult moments without losing its shape. Tuchel knows that Argentina is comfortable in emotionally charged situations and has built an identity based on resilience, competitiveness, and confidence in the most difficult moments. The coach specifically highlighted that quality. As he explained, one of the most notable characteristics of Lionel Scaloni's team is that it does not panic when it falls behind. In Tuchel's view, the Argentine national team remains cohesive even when the match appears to be getting complicated. It does not abandon its patterns, it is not easily thrown into disarray, and it trusts a structure that has been working for years. Tuchel pointed out that Argentina remains calm even when it concedes first. In his analysis, Scaloni's team stays cohesive, recognizes deeply established patterns of play, and benefits from not having undergone major changes over the past 4 years. That stability, according to the England coach, partly explains its ability to survive the most difficult moments. Tuchel believes that continuity is one of Argentina's greatest advantages. Scaloni has been in charge of the team for several years, while a large portion of the squad has shared experiences since before winning the 2022 World Cup. The Argentine players have gone through finals, qualifying campaigns, tight matches, and decisive moments under enormous pressure together. That competitive memory allows them to react without becoming desperate. The England manager also emphasized that Argentina has players who are accustomed to winning major titles together. It is not simply a matter of individual talent. For Tuchel, the champion's strength lies in the combination of quality, experience, and mutual understanding. When a match becomes chaotic, the Argentines do not need to figure out how to respond. They have already lived through similar situations. Tuchel summed up that difficulty by describing Argentina as an especially hard opponent to defeat at a World Cup. Even so, he ended his assessment with a competitive warning. England is ready to put up a fight. That final statement reflects the fact that Tuchel has no intention of presenting England as a victim of the circumstances. He acknowledges Argentina's stature, but he is not afraid of it. His respect is not resignation. The coach believes his team has the resources necessary to compete, impose its own terms, and cause problems for the champion. England reaches the semi-final with players capable of changing the match and with the belief that this generation can bring a historic wait to an end. That is another reason why the coach is trying to reduce the outside noise. In a match of this magnitude, every comment can become fuel. A misinterpreted statement can circulate for hours and eventually make its way into the locker room. Tuchel wants to prevent England from becoming distracted by responding to provocations or feeling that it must defend the honor of episodes in which none of its players took part. When he says that inflaming the rivalry does not help us, his message also has a practical dimension. England needs energy to compete, not to argue. It needs focus to defend, not to react to headlines. The coach knows that emotion will be inevitable, but he wants that emotion to be directed toward performance. Tuchel is not trying to downplay the semi-final either. He knows perfectly well what is at stake. A victory would put England in the World Cup final and give it the opportunity to win the most important title in soccer. But he believes the best way to achieve that goal is to approach the match with clarity, without turning it into something impossible to control. Tuchel explained that he would be surprised if the encounter were calm, relaxed, or easy for either team. The German expects emotional swings, periods when Argentina pushes forward, and moments when England will have to respond. He also expects his team to know how to survive when its opponent raises the intensity. Managing emotions may be just as important as tactics. If England concedes a goal, it will have to avoid becoming desperate. If it takes the lead, it cannot assume that the job is done. Tuchel has already identified that Argentina remains calm when it is behind, which means the England national team will need to maintain its discipline until the final minute. Tuchel wants his players to enjoy the challenge. Reaching a World Cup semi-final means having overcome obstacles and demonstrated the ability to compete under pressure. England should not take the field dominated by history, but fully aware of the opportunity in front of it. The past belongs to other teams. This semi-final will be the responsibility of the current players. The coach's final message can be summarized in two ideas. The first is absolute respect for Argentina, for its coach, its continuity, its mental strength, and the experience of a group that has won major titles. The second is a rejection of any inferiority complex. England recognizes the champion, but believes it can defeat it. Tuchel does not want a war of symbols. He wants a soccer match. He does not want his players carrying decades of political and sporting tension on their shoulders. He wants them to watch the field, interpret the spaces, and make good decisions. History will be present in the stands, in the broadcasts, and in the memories of millions of fans. But according to the coach, it should not control England. It is important not to turn to history because it does not help us. That phrase was his way of closing the door on the noise and opening it to the real challenge. On the other side will be Argentina, the reigning champion, with Messi as its star and with confidence built through years of victories. England will have to face it with soccer, discipline, and courage. The semi-final promises to be intense, emotional, and constantly changing, exactly as Tuchel predicted. There will be tension, alternating periods of control, and a constant sense that any detail could decide everything. But the England coach insists that the key will not be reliving the past but writing a new chapter. For England, that chapter will only matter if it ends with the team qualifying for the final. And to achieve that, Tuchel wants his players to do something that is as simple to say as it is difficult to execute. Block out the noise, withstand the emotion, and play the match in front of them.